Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about some things that you ladies could do while we are all sitting at home, not working, waiting to go back to work hopefully in a couple weeks. So like I said in my previous video, I feel like releasing subjects about what you can be doing at work to help make things better, or, tricks and tips and advice and all that stuff. I feel like I would rather try to offer you some advice on things you could be doing right now to improve upon yourself. So when you are able to go back to work, you can start applying these things. And also, I feel like what I'm going to talk about right now is also just really good overall for you to work on in general. And this would be the perfect time. I'm going to talk about some books that I recommend that you ladies read that are actually really, really good for sales and just overall being just a better dancer. Also, these are really good books to use in your personal lives as well. I love these books. Okay, I do like to read, so I know a lot of people don't. All these books that I'm going to talk about are on audiobooks, so you can, download them and just listen to them, in your car or on your phone. I know you can also get books on CDs if that's something you still listen to. It's easier to do it that way. But I highly recommend trying at least a couple of them, especially the first one I'm going to talk about. And this one's I feel like the most important one. Every woman needs to read, especially if you're going to be a stripper. This is the number one thing that you really should read, because it goes into depth the psychology of seduction. So it's called The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. And it teaches you how to manipulate human psychology to your favor. And it outlines the different seducer types. So I think I don't quote me on this, but I think there's 7 or 8 of them. And so it outlines each personality, and from those you pick which one you feel like is most like yourself. And he explains each one in depth and then gives you strategies to implement based on which personality you are most like. Now, some people, may be a mixture of those different personalities. Some of you may just be fall into one category. But it goes into detail of how you can use your personality to manipulate others and what your strong points are. So it's not just to seduce men. This is how to, he uses the term seduce, not just in a sexual way, but in a charming, charismatic way as well. It's not just sexual seduction. So that's why I say you can definitely use this in your personal life, but it is so helpful to learn these concepts and apply them in your stripping life. So highly, highly recommend, if you don't want to read any of these books, at least read this one, because it will help you the most. So the second one is also another book by Robert Greene, and I actually love all of his books. He's got really great subjects in human psychology as well. So it's called The 48 Laws of Power. And this one is, maybe something more that could just benefit your personal lives, but he just gives you 48 things that are supposed to just make your life better, just really great advice, words of wisdom, and he goes over each of them in detail. So it's kind of like The Art of War, but simplified. But I think a lot of those things are still great resources for people like us that are in sales. And, with the human psychology and the manipulation side of it. So Really good book to read as well. And then the last book, well, there's a couple of them, but it's all, again, by the same author. So the first one is called Tactics, and it's by GL Lambert. Lambert. I'm not sure exactly how to say his last name, but Tactics is a quick read, and it's definitely it's just a book about, again, manipulation, but this is more focused on how to manipulate men. There are a couple parts in that book that I don't totally agree with, but for the most part, he does a really good job of explaining how to get into men's minds and how to get them to spend money on you without you having to do anything. So, he doesn't encourage you to, have sex or anything like that. It's just a way to manipulate men to get them to do what you want. And then his other book that I really do like it's called Men Don't Love Women Like You, and this one's another one that's just more good for your personal life. Again, goes into detail about how, basically how he believes that women are just too easy, and they just he talks about how easy it is for men to manipulate women these days because they don't realize what's happening, and they don't benefit from relationships with men. And he basically just helps you learn how to benefit from the relationship versus not benefiting and just getting left, and cheated on and wondering what you did wrong. And, again, it's like the psychology part of it. So really eye-opening book, highly recommend. And his third book is called The Unicorn Delusion. Another, probably one of my favorite books. That one is definitely an eye-opener. It's fairly a short book too as well. It's also goes over, it focuses more on, women's mindsets and how, again, some of us don't realize the things that we do, how we portray ourselves to men, and how it's so easy for us to get manipulated by men, and what we can do to change it, and things like that. So just really good advice. And again, it's all things you can apply towards your time in dancing. But definitely pick up The Art of Seduction, though. If you don't really want to read anything, or you're not really interested in reading, definitely pick up The Art of Seduction. It is a long book, so I know that there's websites you can type in and get the summaries and just maybe speed read. But otherwise, it is a really long book, so I would recommend getting it on CD. That's what I did, and I would just listen to it in my car. I felt like that was a lot easier. So prepare you for that. You might want to consider maybe doing it that way if you don't like to read books. But if you ladies have any further questions, feel free to leave them below, and we will see you in the next video.